Hello, good afternoon to you. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays. Welcome to another edition of Hard Facts, originally live from your number one talk news and sports radio station, 92.3 Nigeria Info, here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dio. 13 minutes gone past 3 p.m. It's great to be here once again as the year steadily but assuredly comes or glides to an end. Yeah, 21st date today. We got about 10 days to go before it all comes to an end. And the much anticipated, well, I suppose it is. I suppose people look forward to a new year. So the much anticipated year 2022 is right around the corner. That it is. I hope the year 2021 has been good for you. Well, it's been pretty tough, relatively speaking. Relatively speaking, for the entire world. It's been a very difficult year. The last couple of years, 2021, 2020, really difficult for the entire world. But I suppose more difficult for some than others. For Nigerians in particular, I imagine it may have been hellish somewhat. But I hope, once again, relatively speaking, things have worked out this year, or at least are looking up. Yeah. And today has been a productive one as well. Welcome once again. From now till 7, we keep the conversation going. Absolutely so. You're welcome to join in via the usual platforms at the approved times. Let's see. So, taking a look at the matters for discussion on the show today, I do have side comments coming up in a moment. I do check out the news, from about when I wake up in the morning, watching news shows on TV, breakfast news shows, and checking the dailies and surfing the net. So I do come across some news items, sometimes from our news bulletins, that caught my attention. I have a few thoughts on those. Now, those form my side comments. Side comments are not up for discussion, but much later on during the show, the last hour, a segment I refer to as the open season segment. Every matter discussed on the show or mentioned during my side comments are up for discussion at that time, after the major news, the 6 p.m. major news, till about 7 o'clock when the show comes to an end. So, after today's side comments, as usual, I do have a round coming up. One major item that struck me, I will express an opinion on that, and I do take responses, your thoughts, and my thoughts till 4 p.m. We've got business news at 4. Yes, we do. And let's see after that. Now, I mentioned this yesterday as well, I suppose, that I've started a series yesterday. It's 2021 in retrospect. Absolutely. 2021 in retrospect. And I did say I'll be having different guests with me every day. I think it's going to be in the 4 o'clock hour going forward, of course. Yesterday it was supposed to be. And today it will be in the 4 o'clock hour. My guest, Olanlekon Ige, editor, Independent Monitor. We'll be taking a look at events of the year 2021, especially with respect to how Nigeria has fared as a nation in 2021 and how Nigerians have fared in the year 2021 as well. So once again, Lekon Ige joins me in the 4 o'clock hour in the ongoing series 2021 in retrospect. I'll take Cells till 5. We've got the news updated 5 p.m. And after that, well, huge surprise. Buhari returned to electoral bill. I know, not shocking really. But that's the situation. Some would say that it was very much expected. Some may have even prophesied that this was going to happen. At least one governor did so, I suppose. Let's see. So here's the story. I'm going with the version published by the Punch newspaper. Electoral Act Amendment, Buhari returns bill to National Assembly, faults direct primaries, cites insecurity. The President has asked the National Assembly to remove the clause that has to do with direct primaries from the Electoral Act Amendment Bill. The Punch gathered on Monday. The President, who sent this in his letter to the Senate, asked the National Assembly to remove the controversial clause on direct primaries from the bill and return the proposed law to him for assent. A special advisor to the President on Media and Publicity, Garba Shehu, confirmed to one of our correspondents that Buhari had sent a letter to the National Assembly. But a source who was privy to the content of the letter said the President refused assent because political parties had their various constitutions that stipulated mode of primaries that should be adopted. Alright, so we'll take a look at this situation. How does this situation impact on the electoral amendment bill. What is the implication of the president's action on the electoral amendment bill? And there's plenty of talk about the National Assembly's veto power. What exactly is that, and how might that, play out, or how might that card be used, the veto power card, if you will? How might that be used in this game, if you will, that's ongoing at the moment? And these and other related matters we'll take a look at in the 5 o'clock hour after the news update. Barrister Festus Oguche joins me for that conversation. Headlines at 5:30, major news at 6 p.m. and open season after that. Now at about 7, the show comes to an end. The sports gang will be in for extra time. So pretty much that is a summary of what the show is about today. If there are any changes, you will find out. Simply stay tuned. Now we get things going now with today's side comments. Random stories and random thoughts that caught my attention. Now, the River State Governor, yesterday, has signed the 2022 budget of over 483 billion naira into law. Record that the budget was passed by the River State House of Assembly last week after it was presented by the governor on December 3 for consideration and passage. All right, but of course, the River State House of Assembly was going to pass it. I mean, there was never any doubt that the River State House of Assembly was going to pass it. I mean, I wonder if the River State House of Assembly can ever deny passing or refuse to pass anything that the governor sends to them. I mean, I wonder, just asking, I have a very curious mind. I mean, it's one of my many flaws. So I'm just wondering as well, is it possible that the River State House of Assembly can even consider the possibility, can even imagine the possibility of amending a slight alteration to anything that the governor sends to them? Is it possible at all? Once again, this curious mind of mine, it's just it goes haywire sometimes, Well, I know that the same is similar situation as my curious mind is pondering at the moment may very well be the case in other states, but at least in some cases, those you have at least they can tinker with it. They can make some amendments, like the National Assembly constantly does with the budget proposals sent to them by the president, this president and previous presidents. But once again, my mind is just wondering if this River State House of Assembly can ever daydream about the possibility of amending or slightly altering or not passing anything that His Excellency the Governor sends to them. Just thinking out loud, really. Now, photos of black-colored, underfeet hands, cars and houses in River State are flooding social media again. And this is as residents of River State renew calls on the federal and state governments to tackle the deadly air pollution in the state. Some residents who spoke to our correspondent, and expressed fear for their well-being, as they very well should. Let's hear what these residents of River State have to say on this most disturbing situation.
The black suits, I the experience and well. But we are the thing they pain me. Now say if we talk like this finish, we not see any action. Nobody they farm again for all those villages. Because those villages now, nothing they happen again. So not be say the government no. The government know everything. But to stop them, no problem. May they stop the thing they very, very bad.
Experience them every day. Sometimes early morning when they come out, if I pull hand for nose, like everywhere they black and it's very bad. And health-wise it affect. Steady kata. The kata need they go. They look on to the government, may they stop them.
I am married with kids, so it's even worse for children because you see them struggling to breathe while sleeping. So we keep water beside the bed, so when they start coughing, you give them water to drink. The health hazard that the suit is causing is unquantifiable.
Yep, that's what we give them water to drink. That's how we do it here now in River State. That's how. But I wonder if reporting this amounts to demarketing River State or distracting His Excellency. Just thinking out loud as well. I remember some years ago at the inception of the suit situation in River State, and we talk about it. We talk about the situation, about how bad it is, and I remember I think it was a media aide to the governor at the time, who wrote some scathing piece and talked about how Nigerian Info was falsifying information or demarketing the state or something like that. I remember, I've forgotten which media aide now, but I remember a media aide up to the River State governor at that time wrote some scathing op-ed about how the station was tarnishing, was demarketing the state, and was sponsored, or something like that. I can't remember how many times I've been sponsored. Really, it's remarkable. But here we are today. Some years ago, some aide to the governor talked about how we are demarketing the state. But here we are today. If that aide is still living in River State, or the family members or close associates, I'm sure they are concerned about the suit right now. I wonder who's demarketing the state at this time. Really, it's a terrible situation. Something has to be done about this. All hands must be on deck. Enough with the rhetoric and propaganda and blame game and goalpost shifting, claiming it's what's it called? It's on the exclusive list. Yes, the federal government has a responsibility. No one should let the federal government off the hook. As a matter of fact, the federal government has been an abysmal failure as far as tackling this matter is concerned. An abysmal failure indeed. But then again, we have state government here, and the excuse that the governor is just the commander and the chief security officer in title is not in control. The police collect what's it called from IG. The army collect from this one orders and all that. During the COVID situation, when the governor moved around and was escorted by the CP of police, I wonder if the CP received permission from the IG to escort the governor around. When the governor stormed the Air Force base, I wonder if they all received permission from chief of defense staff to allow His Excellency onto the Air Force base at that time. When the governor declares a curfew for whatever reason, I wonder if the police and the military receive permission from Abuja to implement the governor's directives. I wonder. But the question for me, the fundamental question here is, what is Rivers State government's blueprint? Is there a plan at all? The excuse that it's on the exclusive list is extremely lame. It's not tenable and highly illogical, really. Once again, what is the plan? The federal government has a role to play, no doubt about that, especially vis-a-vis security agencies. But then again, what is the River State government unconcerned completely about this? What is the plan? What is the strategy to deal with this? There must be something. They must come up with something. We can't keep going on this way. Something has to give. All right, I do have a break coming up in a moment, but let me see if there was something else was there anything else that caught my attention on the news? I'm not sure there's very much as that caught my attention today, so we'll go for a break right now, and I will return in a moment. The conversation will continue. Still Hard Facts, 91.3 Nigeria Info and here in Port Harcourt. Please stay with us when I return. Today's round comes up.
We give the facts.
News entirely.
We give the evidence. Just to keep you informed.
News, weather.
I get my information top of the hour every hour.
92.3 Nigeria Info. Our freedom depends on our proactive responsibilities.
Let's talk, act, and be about development.
With one voice, our potential is realized. This is your number one news, talk, and sports radio station. 92.3 Nigeria Info. I am listening.
keeping up with political issues and developments around you only on Nigeria Info.
And now, Hard Facts.
Hard Facts
With Dio.
Welcome back to Hard Factor 91.3 Nigeria Info here in Port Harcourt. I'm Dio. It's 28 minutes to go before 4 p.m. Discussions continue. Before I delve into the next matter of on the show right now, a few messages I missed out, WhatsApp messages that came in earlier on before the break. And I'd just like to read a few of them. Dio, they never born the assembly that will alter Governor Wike's budget proposal. That member that will spearhead such alteration is either not born or is yet to win election into the assembly. I guess this person's mind is as curious as mine. Hello, Dar. We're all thinking aloud with you. Passing the budget is a small thing. How about all the unbudgeted expenses that will occur throughout the coming year? Good, Dar. On the issue of the president not signing the... Okay, that's not up for discussion now. We'll get to that later on. Hello, Dar. You have more sponsors than an F1 racer. Yeah. If you've ever seen a Formula 1 race car driver, on their suits, you have so many sponsors, brand names and logos displayed, and even on the vehicles, on the race cars themselves. I get his point. I think it may have a point. I probably have more sponsors than all the Formula 1 vehicles or drivers put together. All right, that's it. Let's get into today's rant. I had something in my mind. I'm expressing some thoughts in it, and I might be able to take your thoughts in mind. I might be. I think I'll be having an August guest with me in the studio shortly, but I still get to deliver today's rant nonetheless. Now, today's rant is I'm trying to help. I'm really trying to help. I'm trying to help especially my friends in the Nigeria Police Force. I'm trying to help them. The police is your friend. I believe the police is my friend, so I'm trying to help them. If you have information they say is power. If you have information that your friend does not have, and you believe that the information is going to help your friend, you have a responsibility to give that information to your friend. You cannot have information that's beneficial to your friend, and your friend does not have that information, and you hold that information back. What it means is you are not a friend, or you are a bad friend, or you're just a plain and simple terrible person. I think I'm a good person, and the police is my friend, and I have this information, so why not give it to them? So here's the thing. The police are struggling with a lot of things, including the River State Police Command. Lack of adequate training, lack of adequate and proper equipment. Remuneration is horrible. They buy their own buttons and their own boots, and sometimes we hear their own uniforms themselves. They have to fuel their patrol vehicles themselves. They live in terrible barracks and all of that. And these are facts. Now, the police know this. They live with this. So, they don't need any information regarding that. But what I think the police don't know, the information they're lacking, is what is responsible for this. I have a hunch that some of our friends or my friends in the police don't know what happened to the resources that's supposed to provide the buttons and the bullets and the uniforms and the boots and the fuel and appropriate accommodation for them. They don't know. I sense that some of my friends in the police think that the people responsible for these uniforms not being there and the buttons missing, or the money to provide them, I think that they believe that there are some people that are referred to as bloody civilians. I have a feeling that the average police officer or other security personnel believe that the woman selling tomatoes at Rumokoro Market, or her young son, who is in his teenage years or in a university right now or some polytechnic, who's learned coding and learning programming and building websites and goes about with a smartphone and the laptop, I think that some of them believe that that young boy is also the one responsible for the lack of buttons. I think so. You can't blame them. If you've been fed with wrong information, you will arrive at wrong conclusions. It's natural. But the police, being my friend and me being the good friend that I am, I came across information that will change their perception and hopefully change their behavior as well. And that's why I've decided to help the police with this very valuable indeed extremely crucial piece of information. And I came across that information in the Vanguard newspaper today. I understand if there's no money for buttons and bullets, it might be tough buying a newspaper or even getting data on your phone to access newspapers online. So here's the story, cut to Vanguard. How PSC blew over 1 billion naira unaccounted funds, Reps Committee. Now here's the story. House of Reps Committee on Public Accounts was miffed yesterday by how the Police Service Commission spent alleged extra budgetary spending and unaccounted funds to the tune of 1,066,398,223 naira. The committee also discovered that some funds were paid into private accounts of some PSC officials. The discovery followed queries issued by the Office of the Auditor General of the Federation to the PSC covering 2013, 2015, 2018 and 2019 on the expenditure of the Commission. Specifically, the query bothered on the over 17 million received from the service-wide vote in 2013, over 1 million received in 2015, over 336 million in 2018, over 400 million, about 400 million in 2019, over 17 million in 2019, another 292 million in 2019 as well. Now, in an investigative session with the PMSEC of PSC, Williams Arlo, the Director of Finance and Accounts, Brighton Savage, the committee chaired by Wole Oke, grilled the officials on the queries. Now, the Commission had, in a written response to the query, said the over 17 million drawn from the service-wide vote was utilized in the payment of the severance allowances of former chairman and 2 full-time members of the Commission whose tenure in the office expired by fusion of time in April 14, 2013. Now, it goes on to list other excuses that were given as to how these funds were expended. But, of course, it did not answer the critical question of how it was budgeted for, and no details could be found as to how these monies were actually expended. And like I mentioned a while ago, I stipulated in the story, some of these funds were discovered to have been paid into private accounts as well. So over 1 billion naira, back to the headline once again, the PSC, the Police Service Commission, blew over 1 billion naira unaccounted funds. Once again, that's according to investigation being carried out by the House of Reps. Over 1 billion naira is missing. Unaccounted for, expended by the Police Service Commission. And like I said a while ago, the police is my friend. So to all my friends who are out there in the Nigeria Police Force, especially River State Command, to those of you who are wondering why you don't have money for bullets, why you buy your own buttons and your own boots and your own uniforms, and you have to fuel your own patrol vehicles, and money is never actually made available for these things. That young boy who is holding a smartphone or a laptop because he builds websites is not the one who stole the money. So there's no need to get angry at him and then you arrest him and then you beat him up and you lock him up or take him to an ATM to empty his accounts for you because you need to buy buttons and because you need to fuel your patrol vehicles. So next time you guys are angry or upset about where the money is going, you can ask the Police Service Commission. If you're looking for who to slap and beat, try the guys at the Police Service Commission. You know, you can pick them up, accuse them of being Yahoo or internet fraudsters. I mean, when 1 billion goes missing, some Yahoo may have gone on at somewhere along the line. You can pick them up and slap them around, you know, and take them to ATMs. Some of these over 1 billion naira could still be in accounts. You guys should think smart here. Think big. Some of these over 1 billion are still lodged in accounts. So take them to ATMs. You know, and some of the ATMs around GRA are dishing out mint right now. It's a good idea to take them to the ATMs, you know. So pick them up, take them to ATMs, and ask them to withdraw the over 1 billion that they have been unable to account for. And you will have more than enough to buy buttons and buy bullets and buy uniforms and buy boots. Maybe even fix up your barracks and obviously fuel your patrol vehicles as well. So like I said a while ago, at the start of this, information is power, and if your friend is lacking in vital information that could change their life and you don't give it to them, you're a bad friend. But I'm a good friend. That's why I'm providing this very important piece of information to my friends in the police force who are out there. So that's today's rant. I hope I didn't bore you. Normally I would take your thoughts on my thoughts right now till about 4 o'clock. But I mentioned a while ago, I do have an August visitor joining me in the studio. So I'll go for a quick break right now. By the way, you can send your comments in on my thoughts via WhatsApp. Our number is 0809 030 6416. Hopefully, at some point in the course of the show, I may have a chance to read up on some of those comments, or possibly much later on during today's open season segment. So that's after the major news at 6 p.m. I'll take your thoughts on today's rant. Please stay tuned. Hard Facts returns shortly.